126. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Friday. Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Good Friday to you, Mr. Hill. How are you?
I'm doing solid, man. I'm wondering if our listeners would love that OTB chat we had earlier. I don't know. Maybe we just keep it sports related today.
I finished Ozark last night, and this squad. Well, Jeremy didn't even know that the new episodes were out. He thought he had seen the whole thing, and Taylor's behind. But we were talking a lot of TV. We're not going to do that over the next 2 hours. We're going to talk a lot of sports, as we generally do here on Hunt and Hill. And there's a lot to get to. NFL schedule is out. NBA playoffs are rolling on. SEC baseball in the home stretch. We'll get you your weekend preview at the end of this hour. Scott Rabelais will kick off hour number 2. He'll be on the LSU baseball beat this weekend, so we'll chat with Scott from the Advocate at 1 o'clock, and Nick Suss. I'm going to go with Suss right now. S-U-S-S is the last name. If he corrects us and says it's Seuss before we go on the air, we'll correct it there. But he covers Ole Miss for the Jackson Clarion Ledger, and he will join us in 30 minutes to talk about the Rebs. And that's where we will start on this Friday the 13th. LSU and Ole Miss tonight at the box, 7:30, ESPN 2. It's a big one, Jeremy, for the Tigers. I feel like everyone thinks they've got to win 4 games over the next 6 in SEC play, and that starts tonight against the Rebs, who are playing a little bit better as of late.
Oh, yeah, they definitely have been playing better, especially over the last weekend. And obviously that midweek game, I think, for them was getting going in that right direction and knowing what's at stake for them. They're in a particular place where they desperately need, have to win these last 2 series for the season. And for LSU, you're going to be getting the best shot from them. And you've been playing well as well, too. So I think this is going to be a really great matchup. I wouldn't be shocked over the weekend if there's a lot of runs scored here. I just think that's, the way these bats and the way these kids are going to lock in the box. They know, at this point in the season, guys are swinging the bat well. Everyone has their rhythm. It's going to be a really, really great series. I really think, but I do think Ole Miss is going to give LSU their best shot.
There's no doubt. Their backs are against the wall. They know that. I think everyone is aware of that. Ole Miss has been dominated in Baton Rouge over the years. I am 34 years old. Ole Miss has won 1 series in my lifetime in the box since. So it was actually the last one, but that's the only time they have come here and won. So it's been an interesting season for Ole Miss. I want to kind of lay it out there as to what is coming here to Baton Rouge. The Rebels are 28-19 on the season. They are 10-14 in SEC play. Now, they were dead team walking as of 7 days ago. You're talking about a 7-14 team in league play, but they have won 4 games in a row, 3 in conference play. They swept Missouri over the weekend. Last year, this Ole Miss team was 45-22 for the season. They went 18-12 in Southeastern Conference play. They were the number 12 national seed entering the NCAA tournament. They ended up winning their regional in Oxford, and they went to Arizona, where Jay Johnson was, and lost in Game 3 of a super regional. From that team that finished 18-12 in league play, got to the SEC tournament title game, won a regional, and was a game away from Omaha, they bring back 90% of their games started, 90% of their runs, 92% of their hits, 91% of their home runs, 91% of their RBIs. They bring back a load of this offense. In fact, the top 7 from their lineup in Game 3 of the Super Regional last year played in the lineup on Wednesday against Southern Miss. Now, they lost Gunnar Hoagland, who was a first-round pick from the weekend rotation. They lost Doug Nikhazy, who was a star there from the left side, so they had to do some rebuilding on the pitching side. But this offense remained intact from a really good team last year. This year, they were fine in non-conference play. They did okay in the pre-conference. Then they got into conference play, and they got swept by Tennessee in week 2. It was a number 1 versus number 2 matchup, and Tennessee came into Oxford and just smoked them. They rebounded and won 2 out of 3 at Kentucky. Then they went home and got swept by Alabama in Oxford. They lost 2 out of 3 at South Carolina, lost 2 out of 3 to Mississippi State. Those are bad baseball teams. They lost 2 out of 3 to those teams. They lost 2 out of 3 at Arkansas, but they were competitive. We just talked about they swept Missouri, and I think we're pretty – I don't think I told anything – I didn't think I said anything about Missouri that said they were a great baseball team when Missouri came in here. Mm-hmm. This is a team that you look at the statistics and the record, they don't look very good. I'm telling you, this is a good baseball team that's coming in here. They've played very poorly. They've got the ability to play a little bit, and I think there's a sense of urgency there now that maybe wasn't there early in the season. and they realize they've got to get it done. Now, there's two ways to approach that. You can play too tight, or you can come out and play really hard and play really well. Yeah. We'll see tonight.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely see tonight. But I think Coach Bianco's got to really have them really coached up and ready to go. I think their backs against the wall. And like you said, a lot of these guys have had a lot of success in SEC play and obviously going on to the postseason to do good things. So they're going to be confident. I know this is not the best season for them, but they still have an opportunity here. So I think for LSU, you can't overlook this team. You've been playing well. You've got some starting pitchers. I think for me, I kind of want to know who that second day guy is going to be pitching and starting for LSU. I don't know if they've announced that yet, but I think that's going to be a big thing because if you can get that guy stretched out, then I think this series definitely tilts in LSU's favor.
It appears it's going to be money, which is shocking to me. That's what it sounds like. That's what was listed on the SEC website. We'll see what Jay Johnson decides to do when that happens. This Ole Miss offense is kind of a one-trick pony. If you were listening to After Further Review with Matt yesterday, Chase Parham was on there. He's the best in the business covering Ole Miss over there at Rebel Grove, and he was talking about it. They are a powerful offensive team, but that's really all they have. They're 10th in the league in batting average. They're 10th in on-base percentage. They are 13th in the 14-team conference in hits. They don't sack bunt. They don't steal, but they hit home runs. They are third in the conference in slugging. They are fifth in the league in home runs. They have got two guys in this lineup, in Tim Elko and Jacob Gonzalez. If you remember, Elko last year had a torn ACL and still carried the team in the postseason with a torn ACL, just bashing home runs left and right. Jacob Gonzalez has a first-round ceiling as a shortstop for Ole Miss. Those two guys both have 10 home runs in conference play, not for the season, in league play. They've got 10 home runs in 24 games. Elko's hitting .354 in league play. You look at Jacob Gonzalez, and when he digs in the batter's box, if you're at the box tonight and Jacob Gonzalez comes up there and you look at the scoreboard and you say, what? This guy doesn't have a very good batting average. He's hitting .258 in the league. Hold on. He's got an on-base in the league of .412. He walks a ton, and he's got 10 home runs in league play. He had a 3-home-run game against Alabama. He is a left-handed hitter. He's a slugger. He's a really good shortstop. He's a great player who hasn't played well. That's the story of this Ole Miss team. There are a bunch of guys in this lineup who were, perfect game All-Americans, who have high draft grades, who just haven't produced this year. That's got to be the most frustrating thing when you've got a lineup full of guys with a bunch of accolades in their bio, but you look up at your record and you're 10-14 in the league.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate. I think for Ole Miss, you look at the season that they've had this year, especially since SEC play has started, hasn't been the best brand of baseball that you want to see. And so for me, I think it's going to be so important for Elko and Gonzalez to really have huge series against LSU because to me, you're going to need the long ball this weekend. I don't really see them, singling and doubling and moving runners around. They're going to need the long ball. You've seen LSU lose games this year. Team has been able to hit the ball really hard and hit home runs. So that's what it's going to take. So I'm really looking forward to see how they pitch around these guys because if I'm LSU, I'm not giving these guys fastballs. I'm pitching around them and forcing some other guys in this lineup to really try to do some damage.
When you think of Ole Miss, you think of some really good pitchers they've had over the years. Lance Lynn, who's still doing a great job in the big leagues. Drew Pomeranz was their ace back around the time when he was dealing with Anthony Dorado and LSU in 2009 and 2010. You think of guys like Doug Nikhazy and Gunnar Hoagland from last year. They've had excellent frontline pitchers, and that just has not been the case this year. Their pitching staff is 9th in the league in ERA. They are middle of the road in just about every other category, and they are the second worst fielding team in the league. Of course, we know who the worst team is. They'll be out there on the field tonight, but Ole Miss just hasn't been very good defensively. Mike Bianco, I think, has settled on what is going to be his three guys the rest of the way, and I realize there's only 2 weekends left, but these are his guys. They've had 6 different starters start SEC games, but tonight you'll see Dylan DeLucia. He's a 6'1", 205-pound junior right-hander. He was a reliever early in the year. He's now started 5 SEC games. He's gone deep for them, as deep as you would like for your Friday night guy to go. He threw 6 2/3 against Tennessee, which is doing yeoman's work against those guys. He threw 7 2/3 against South Carolina. He threw a 9-inning complete game against Mississippi State. He got through 7 innings against a good Arkansas lineup. He has gone deep into games. Now, he's given up some hits the last 2 weeks, actually 8 hits in each of the last 2 weekends. Missouri tagged him for 8 hits in 4 innings, but he had a 52-pitch first inning last week and still found a way to get through 4 innings. I've looked at some tape on him, and it's very, very average stuff from an SEC perspective, but you can see that he's an ultra-competitive dude. There's a lot of Jared Poche in there. It's just I'm not going to throw 94. I don't have a nasty slider that nobody can hit. I'm just going to go out there and pound the strike zone. You're going to hit it at my guys, and I'm going to muster my way through 7 innings. But this is probably not the lineup to do that against because it's a talented group that LSU's bringing to the box.
Oh, yeah, even without Jacob Berry in this lineup, I think you add Gavin Dugas back to this lineup, which I think is just it's huge, especially the timing of it with Berry being out. I think I don't think Ole Miss's pitching is going to be anything LSU has to worry about. I think if they go in the batter's box with the right approach, they'll be able to do what they've been doing all season. This is not going to be anything they haven't seen. This isn't Noland or Cannon or any of these guys that they've seen all season. So I think for LSU, you're in a good spot right now. You just got to continue to play the way you've been playing.
He's allowed 8 home runs in 43 SEC innings, so he's allowed to go for ball, and I think you're going to see a lot of that this weekend from both teams. Both these teams can leave the yard with a quickness. Saturday for Ole Miss, Hunter Elliott, 6'3", left-hander, 88-mile-an-hour fastball, kind of a slurvy breaking ball. His last 3 weeks have been very, very good in that 2-hole. Against Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Missouri, he has gone a total of 17 innings, given up just 12 hits and 5 earned runs. He's walked 4 and struck out 23. So he's been good. And then Sunday starters, Derek Diamond, he started as their Friday guy and just has not had a very good year, quite frankly. He's a 6'2", 200-pound right-hander, 90-mile-an-hour heater. Last year he made 14 starts and was okay. They thought he would take the next step, and he just hasn't. In SEC play, he's just gotten lit up, quite frankly. 32 and 2/3 innings, 44 hits, and 27 runs, 22 strikeouts. He hasn't made it into the 6th inning in any start this year. So it's a ragtag group of a pitching staff. I would say the same thing for LSU. These two teams are very offensive. You got to figure you're going to see the ball flying out of the yard this weekend, and LSU's got to come and win a couple ball games. That's the goal for LSU this weekend with Ole Miss coming to town. Nick Sauce is going to join us in 20 minutes to talk about this matchup from an Ole Miss perspective. Scott Rabelais at 1 o'clock. Y'all are going to hate this, but I'm going to have to throw a little tease in here. This was in the rundown for 1:15, and it's pretty large news. We will get to it next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford. Find them at BayouFord.com. Look, Jeremy and I are Ford drivers. I love my Explorer. It's the 3rd one I have had. Jeremy's got the F-250. If you're looking for something a little bit bigger than my Explorer, the Expedition is great. My Explorer actually has more room than you would imagine. It's got a 3rd row. If you got kids or got a crew, you don't want that massive car, get in the Explorer. It is awesome. They've got them down there at Bayou Ford. If you're not in the market for a Ford, they've got Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep, all down there at Bayou Automotive. Give them a call. Make the short drive to LaPlace, but that's not in your time frame, then you can give them a call or shop it online at BayouFord.com.
Yeah, Bayou Ford is a great special on 2 vehicles. The first being a new 2022 Ford F-150 for 2.9% APR and $500 in bonus cash. The second is a new 2021 Ford EcoSport for $2,000 off MSRP.
Million-mile powertrain warranty on all your purchases down there at Bayou Ford. Check out the inventory this weekend, BayouFord.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Right Radio Hours return, previewing LSU Ole Miss and the NFL schedule release. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, I don't tease y'all too often, but I had to there. Going to the break, I told you there was some big news, and there is some big news. Matt McMahon continues to keep the train rolling. Adam Miller has announced, as to quote Adam Miller, not enough dirt on his boots yet. He will stay in Baton Rouge and play for the Fighting Tigers. Of course, Miller, who transferred in from Illinois. He was a starter as a freshman on a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Tore his ACL just prior to the season last fall. Did not get to play a single minute. He has been cleared fully for athletic performance. He was looking at LSU and TCU, where Jamie Dixon is the head coach. Jamie Dixon coached him with Team USA a couple of summers ago. And after looking through every option, he is coming back to Baton Rouge. Mr. Hill, that is good.
It's good. That's unbelievable to me. I thought that guy was signed, sealed, delivered. He was getting the next flight out of town. So you get a guy like that with the experience he has at the college level. I think last year, it would have put the team just totally over the top. And now you get an opportunity to come back next season and get a guy like Adam Miller, to me, who's really a really good guard, man. He can score on all 3 levels. He's a great passer. And I think he's got to really, make plays for the Tigers next season.
No doubt about it. And look, I believe in this sport that roster management is the most important thing. It's why I loved so much that Will Wade was the head coach at LSU, because you could count on a solid roster. Was Will Wade above and beyond in X's and O's? No, he was not by anyone's estimation. And were there issues with the program? Yeah. But roster management was his strength. And Matt McMahon has shown in his first couple of months here in Baton Rouge that he has put this roster together very, very strongly given the circumstances. I still don't think this is a top 5 team in the SEC. It's a loaded league with a lot of really good coaches and a ton of really good players. But the fear that I had was this was going to be totally non-competitive for 18 games in conference play. That is not even close to the actual situation that we have now. You've got a team that's got Justice Hill at the point, who ran the point for a really good team last year in Murray State. You got Adam Miller, a proven commodity as a college player, as a shooting guard and a potential NBA prospect there. You know what you got in Imwani Wilkinson. You've got a couple of top 60 players in the country who can play at the 4 spot. You brought in KJ Williams at the 5, who was the conference player of the year in the Ohio Valley last year and is a proven college player at 6'10". You've brought in Cam Hayes from NC State, who has played valuable minutes. Trey Hannibal, who was a backup 6-man for Murray State that has played in the Southeastern Conference. You've brought in Derek Fountain as a depth piece in the front court, who was at Mississippi State. This has been really impressive to watch, and Miller becomes probably your most potent scorer right out of the chute in the 2-guard spot, and they kept him in Baton Rouge some way, somehow.
Yeah, they found a way to do it. I think we were just talking about it, like, what is Coach McMahon doing with this huge cloud over the program and still being able to get guys to, commit and come play and want to be fighting Tigers. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think for a guy like Adam, seeing that, that lefty approach, I think it shocks a lot of people. I'm your guarding right-handed guys, and then you get this lefty who can really score it and drive it. I think it's gonna really work for him. So I'm excited to see this team and how competitive they're going to be, because I think I agree with you there. I just didn't see them being competitive at all. It'd be hard to cut the TV on sometimes. So it's going to be good to know that they're going to be at least competitive next season.
Look, the biggest question is simply unanswerable. We don't know when the NCAA is going to drop this hammer, and we don't know, obviously, how large that hammer is going to be. These things take time. There is a process that goes through. LSU has obviously received the notice of allegations. Everyone here has seen it. Now LSU has to do their own investigation, present their findings, and plead their case to the NCAA, which will take that and then dole out a punishment. That can take a lot of time. More often than not, the NCAA will drop that thing at the worst opportune time. They will drop it right in front of the season, in the middle of the season. They can do that. There's no period where you have to find out what the issue is. Ole Miss's football program sat there and flapped in the breeze forever. Oklahoma State, same type deal. And eventually it comes down, and everyone can take a deep breath when you actually know what the issue is. But LSU right now has to go ahead and fight it. And it's very obvious that they were more intent on fighting the charges and sacrificing Will Wade than straight up fighting for Will Wade and the basketball program. That's the way they decided to do it. We'll see what the outcome is. How much of this they can pin simply on Will Wade, I'm skeptical, because in my opinion, when you play ball with the NCAA, you get burned. When you tell the NCAA to kick rocks, you usually win. LSU's decided to play ball, so we'll see what the NCAA does. But anyway you slice it, this team is going to be pretty fun to watch and competitive. It's just a matter of, do they have any end goals this season? That's a question we can't answer at this point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows. It's really no timetable, which is what I hate about the NCAA. There's no structure. It's kind of just, end all, be all, judge, jury, executioner, and they kind of just run it the way they want to. There's no, okay, once we kind of look into this investigation, once we get you the notice of allegations, you got a year or you got 6 months. There's really no timetable. So you're kind of just in no man's land. You're in limbo, and it's just a tough place to be, which is why I'm still so shocked Coach McMahon is doing what he's doing, getting guys to come play for this program with that uncertainty ahead. But, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to know. You just kind of have to wait it out and wait for the news to pop up that day.
There's one spot left on this roster, and so Matt McMahon can look around and see what he wants to do with that. The name that I've heard the most connected to the last spot on this roster is Sean Phillips. He is a four-star center. He's 6'10", 250 pounds, from Arizona. NC State and Kansas State very much in the mix there. Cincinnati as well, but LSU trying to get in the mix with Sean Phillips. He would be a guy who would be on next year's team and trying to get as much depth in the front court as they could. They've got size. It's a matter of how competent that size is beyond KJ Williams, who we know can play at the college level and be an effective player on the post. So Sean Phillips still has to make his decision. If he were to come in Baton Rouge, you'd really have some impressive size and length in the front court to go along with what's a really solid group of guards. I mean, your guards right now are Justice Hill from Murray State, Adam Miller, obviously from LSU. You go and you have Trey Hannibal from Murray State. You got Justice Williams, who we know here from LSU. You got Cam Hayes from NC State. It's a pretty good guard group. Just a question of what do they have in the front court beyond KJ Williams, and Phillips would be a really nice add if they could find a way to get him.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about that before this segment. They need a 5. I think they need a 5 bad. I think I trust KJ there, but to me, like, if you could get a true real 5 to bang, because you're gonna be dealing with Oscar Tshiebwe. Like, a lot of these bigs are still gonna be around in the SEC. A lot of veteran-led bigs, so you're gonna need that presence down there, because last year, I think that's what this team desperately needed. You didn't get that production you needed from Efton Reed. So if you can get a big that can really, average 8, 9, 10 rebounds a game and be that presence on the defensive side, it really helped this team out a ton.
Again, this is something I brought up when KJ Williams came to Baton Rouge, but this is and Adam Miller, same way, has ties to LSU. He obviously is enrolled here, so it's not that big a stretch. But there obviously had to be a sales pitch there to bring Adam Miller back, and that's not a guy who he had a relationship at all. I'm quite confident that Murray State wasn't recruiting Adam Miller, who was a top 50 player in the country who was going to Illinois. I don't think Murray State was in the mix. So that's a new guy that he had to form a relationship with. And when Matt McMahon was hired, everyone talked about how good he was, one, as a guy, as a person, and two, as an X's and O basketball coach. That was kind of the known commodity with him. And, of course, you get John Morant, and that leads you to new heights at Murray State that you've never been on. He's one of the best players on the planet. But, what was he going to be like as a recruiter, as a salesman of the program, dealing with athletes at a profile that he had not really dealt with at Murray State? And to this point, I really can't give him any higher marks because of what he's dealing with in terms of the sanctions laying over the program. I don't know if he's going to these guys and never mentioning it. I don't know if he's telling them that he has a good feeling about it. I don't know if he's saying, yeah, we're not going to play in the postseason, but just come play. I don't know what he's saying. It's working, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's been the biggest shocker to me because, you look at most situations where schools are getting hammered with postseason bans. You suffer in recruiting. You suffer in the transfer portal. Things aren't going well, and it takes you a very, very long time to get back competitive and get things going in the right direction. So to see Coach McMahon kind of doing that overnight, it feels like it's been, 4 or 5 months so far. So it's crazy. So you got to tip your cap to him.
So if you missed the news, Adam Miller from LSU staying at LSU, not headed to Texas Christian. So that is a big get. Adam Miller, plug and play. He is your starting two guard from day one, if I've got this right. And that's a huge get for LSU, and a former top 50 player who was a Team USA guy who certainly would have helped. I think one thing with Miller is that his legend continued to grow last year as LSU just struggled so mightily to find any way to get buckets. And you're like, well, Miller would fix the whole thing. Well, he's not. You're not talking about Kevin Durant here. But he's a good two guard at the college level who made some shots for Illinois. He actually led the Big Ten in threes made by a freshman when he was up there at Illinois, and was a starter again on a 1 seed. Had a really good game in Cameron, an empty Cameron basically, but a Cameron nonetheless with the COVID protocols. So big get for Matt McMahon. Was going to talk about that in the second hour as just kind of to preview it. I didn't know when the announcement was coming, but it did come via his Instagram, so you can take it to the bank. LSU basketball has made it official on theirs as well. So that is a big deal to get Adam Miller in the boat. Still a ton to talk to about NFL schedule release, SEC baseball weekend preview. We got Scott Rabelais coming up at 1 o'clock, and the NBA playoffs continue to roll on. But when we come back, we will continue talking LSU and Ole Miss. Nick Suss from the Jackson Clarion Ledger is going to jump aboard. He covers Ole Miss. What's Mike Bianco's crew bringing to bear this evening at the box? That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money.
On Mondays, Off the Bench. How did the Tigers fare in their battle against the Black Bears? Little recap of Saints rookie minicamp. We got spread lines with our guy Hold the Mayo. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
7:30 first pitch tonight, Alec Box Stadium, LSU and Ole Miss. A big one for both teams. Tigers trying to hang on to a host site and maybe take a peek towards a top 8 national seed. Ole Miss just looking for a ticket to the party. Nick Suss covers the Rebels for the Clarion Ledger. He joins us now. Nick, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Doing very well. It says in your Twitter bio that you're a sitcom nerd. What's the best sitcom of all time?
Best is probably MASH, but I mean, if you want to talk about anything about sitcoms, I've probably seen just about every one of them. So if you want to talk about the modern stuff, you want to talk about the obscure stuff. Last night I was rewatching Bottom, a British, like, kind of Three Stooges kind of ripoff, where it's two guys that are single and always trying to be on the prowl, but they just end up beating the crap out of each other. Okay. I'll talk about any sitcom in the world, but
you need to come on our morning show. That's more their speed. They'll talk about anything that's not have to do with sports. Let's talk LSU and Ole Miss. Nick, let's talk about this Rebel team that had so much positivity, so much expectation early in the season, and obviously SEC play did not start off the way that they thought it might, and they've kind of been battling their way back ever since. What's the temperature in Oxford with Bianco interviewing for the LSU job? Things didn't start off very well. They're playing a little better now. What's the feeling around the program now?
I mean, Field didn't like that. They didn't like their coach publicly flirting with one of their arch rivals. That wasn't a great feeling. But look, this is kind of what happened. This is a team that we came into the year saying Ole Miss needs to win a bunch of 10-8 baseball games if they're going to be great. And what's happened is they've lost a bunch of 10-8 baseball games. I ran the numbers the other day. I think they've played 8 games since April 1st where they had the tying runner or go-ahead runner at the plate in the 8th inning or later, and they've gone 0-8 in those games. They just can't finish. They're an okay team. They're a very talented team. They just haven't been able to finish these games, and they've kind of turned it around the last 4 games. They beat Missouri 3 times in a row, which, so what, everybody swept Missouri when they've been on the road this year. And then they go down to Hattiesburg this Wednesday, and they beat them. They beat a top 25 team pretty convincingly with a good pitching performance, which was the thing that Ole Miss wasn't able to do in March and April. Maybe this is a team on the turnaround, but the temperature right now is you think about it, this team's still not in the postseason unless they win 4 of their last 6 against LSU and Texas A&M, and even then it's probably not guaranteed. So you never know. You never know with a team that's preseason top 3 that hits number 1 in April and then misses the tournament. That's going to be a big disappointment for the fans to handle.
Yeah, that's a great stat with that 0-8 in games where they've had the tying run or go-ahead run at the plate late in the ball game. And here LSU is 14-10 in league play. They were down to their last strike and down a run in Starkville and hit a 2-run single to win that game in Game 1. And they had a walk-off home run down 1 in Game 3 against Georgia. And you turn 12-12 into 14-10. It's funny how this thing works like that. Let's talk about the arms for Ole Miss because we know about these bats. It seems like Mike Bianco's finally, after shuffling the deck a good bit over the first 6 weeks, kind of settled on DeLucia, Elliott, and Diamond on the weekend rotation. Tell us about tonight's starter, Dylan DeLucia.
Yeah, Dylan DeLucia's been really, really solid as a starter this year. He was a mediocre to below average bullpen arm for them. I think his ERA out of the bullpen to start the year was somewhere around 6. But then his first 4 SEC starts, Ole Miss goes 4-0 in those games, and he has a 1.8 ERA with 1 complete game and 2 games where he went 7 2/3. I mean, he's a guy who eats distance. He's a guy who his stuff doesn't really diminish after the 6th inning. I mean, he can keep going. If he throws 92 in the first, he'll keep throwing 92 in the 7th. He's a strike thrower. He doesn't walk many batters. He just kind of mows through the strike zone and dares people to take him out of the yard. That happens. He gives up home runs. That's kind of the weakness for most of these Ole Miss pitchers right now. But the thing that DeLucia has done really, really well is he's efficient, and he's usually not going to let himself beat himself. If he gets beat like he did against Missouri last week when Ole Miss kind of had to win that hitter's duel, it was because he wasn't doing what he likes to do. Most of the time, he's the guy who fills the zone, and like he did against Mississippi State, like he did against Arkansas, can take down some potent offenses just by challenging them head on.
My co-host here is I would call him a uniform expert, and Ole Miss has those wonderful powder blue uniforms. What would you rate those uniforms? Because my co-host, I'm not sure he's a fan of those.
I think that they are good uniforms. I'm baffled by the fact that there's a stripe on the pants and not the jersey, or is it the jersey, not the pants? There's just kind of a stripe that starts somewhere, and that's always confused me. I think they're good baseball uniforms. Their powder blue softball uniforms are gorgeous. They're even better than the baseball ones if you ever want to take a look at a good softball uniform. But yeah, they're good. I'm not a design freak like some people are. I have some friends who can tell me, like, what with the serifs on the 3s? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Does it say Ole Miss? Then I know who they play for.
Look, colored pants belong on the softball field. I love Ole Miss's uniforms traditionally. The navy, the red, the white, the pinstripes, all good. I could do without the camo hats too, but that's a story for another day. This offense for Ole Miss, Tim Elko kind of runs the show, but the number's down for Jacob Gonzalez a little bit this year. Has he spoken about that, or what has kind of been the issue with the star shortstop this year?
Yeah, the numbers are down if you just look at batting average. I mean, The dude also has 43 walks, if I'm remembering off the top of my head. And he's got 14 home runs, which is an improvement over last year. His slugging is still high. His on base is still high. He's just probably a little too selective at the plate. I don't think he's out there hunting for singles and doubles as much anymore. He's just trying to get on base, which it sucks when last year you bat 355 and this year you bat 285. But when you're batting 285 with a OPS north of 900, you're not the problem. The problem ends up being Ole Miss is not flooding the base paths at all, where they last year through SEC play scored 33% of their runs via the home run. And this year in SEC play, it's up around 50.
Yeah.
So when you go from 1/3 of your runs coming over the home run to half of your runs, it means you're not sustaining rallies. It means you're not kind of moving people around the bases, small balling your way. And I'm not saying Ole Miss needs to play more small ball. I just find it's baffling that when you have 8 returning starters from last year and the 9th guy is Tim Elko, it's weird that your offense is doing things so differently when you have so much experience, the same coaching staff, and you're just not producing the same way you did last year when you arguably had the best offense in the SEC.
So how much would you say that Ole Miss has found something over the last week, or how much did you say Missouri's not any good and it was a midweek game against Southern Miss?
I'd say the trend has less to do with the last 4 games and more to do with the last 13 or so. Because you lose 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State. You lose 2 out of 3 against Arkansas. You think you're on this losing streak. But you examine those games. Their first loss against Mississippi State, they lost 10-7 where they had the tying runner on base in the 9th inning. Their second one, they lose in 11 innings. Their first loss to Arkansas, they lose on a 9th inning walk-off home run. And their second loss to Arkansas, they lose with the bases loaded in the 9th inning. The margin for error is razor thin, and that is not a defense of this team being better than its record or anything like that, but we understand that baseball is a sport that involves a lot of coin flips, and Ole Miss has lost a ton of coin flips, and that is probably a criticism of this team as a whole and its construction and how reliant it needs to be on these big plays. But it's gotten those big plays these last 4 games. That's been the difference against Missouri and against Southern Miss. They're making really good defensive plays. They're getting the crucial hit when they need to, and their pitchers are getting out of jams. Is that them turning a corner? I have no clue, because they're still playing razor-thin margins of victory. It's not like they're winning these games 13-2. But if you do believe in that difference of, they have the confidence to make the big play, that corner has been turned.
To me, if Ole Miss is going to go into Alex Box and win this series, it's going to have to be a huge series from Tim Elko and Jacob Gonzalez. Do you see a world where they can still win this series if those guys don't really have a great 3 games?
Theoretically, yeah, but the 4-5 hitters in this lineup, Kevin Graham and Kemp Alderman, are scorching hot. I think they have 18 hits over the 4-game win streak between the two of them, and so those guys have kind of carried the lineup as Gonzalez and Elko are getting on base in front of them, and then Graham and Alderman are hitting these mammoth home runs. I think they have 5 homers in the last 4 games between the two of them. Those 4 guys are really crucial because the bottom of the lineup for Ole Miss is competent, but they're going to strike out a ton of strikeouts. And even the guys at the top of the lineup, look at Tim Elko's strikeout lineups. He has struck out so many times this year, and you counteract that by batting .370 in SEC play, but this is a team that's going to kind of go down swinging a lot, and because of that, those 4 guys in the heart of the order are going to need to produce. So I think you're right that Gonzalez and Elko are going to need to be the stars, but I think by extension it's really Gonzalez, Elko, Graham, and Alderman.
You mentioned Graham, 3 home runs in the last 2 ball games for Ole Miss. Nick, we really appreciate some time. Best Seinfeld episode on your way out?
Festivus, The Strike.
I got you. H&H Bagels. No bagel. I got you. Nick Suss from the Clarion Ledger. We appreciate some time. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
At Nick Suss on Twitter, and he covers the Ole Miss Rebels for the Clarion Ledger. Does a great job. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
he's fun to talk to, and I think he's right. Look, this Ole Miss team is not bad. Their record's not very good, and Missouri's not very good, so it's not as if they've figured something out against Missouri. But there's some talent there. LSU's got their work cut out for them. I think LSU is a better team. We'll see how much Jacob Berry LSU gets, but it's going to be a very competitive series. When we come back, we will close out hour number 1 with a look at the SEC weekend and something that happened last night that I think is very relevant to LSU. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Sync Wellness, SYNC, synkwellness.com. They got your IV hydrations. They've got the fast vitamin IVs that they can administer in as little as a minute. You don't have to sit there and let the whole thing drip for an hour. You don't have time, they can get you out of there in 5 minutes if need be over there at Sync Wellness. But they've also got some awesome vitamin hydrations that Jeremy will tell you about.
Yeah, here are some of the many beneficial reasons why you should schedule an IV hydration with Sync Wellness: to slow down aging, to recover faster from illness, to aid in optimal sports and athletic performance, to get more energy, you can even flush out toxins from your body.
If there are any issues you're dealing with and you just haven't had any luck kicking it, maybe Sync Wellness is the answer for you. Just go in, chat with Angie Huff, their doctor of pharmacy over there. Tell her what your issues are. Tell her what your goals are. They'll draw some blood. They'll see where you're deficient. They'll put together a program with vitamins and supplements just for you. Get to feeling better. Get to looking better. Get to performing better. Let Sync Wellness help. Check it all out at synkwellness.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit
for a Friday edition of Early Line as we preview the sports weekend, including LSU baseball's matchup with Ole Miss and the second round of the NBA playoffs. Join us from 2 to 3 p.m. Early Line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Citizens Bank brings you the poll question each and every day here on Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN on Twitter. Our poll question today, off to a better start at LSU. Is it Matt McMahon with basketball or Brian Kelly with football? Where's your vote being cast, Jeremy?
Ooh, I'm going to go BK, man. I'm going to go BK.
Okay. I got Coach McMahon. I got Matt McMahon. I think he's both had a really tough job. Brian Kelly's roster was shot. And so Matt McMahon had no players, but he only had to fill it with 12. Brian Kelly has to get to 85. I'll go with Coach McMahon, but I can see it either way. Go to @1045 ESPN on Twitter to vote. I want to lay out the schedule for the SEC, but first, let's talk about last night. The only game in the conference was Georgia and Tennessee. Georgia is a huge spread on the projections. You've got D1 Baseball has them out of the hosting position. Yesterday we talked with Baseball America, and they had Teddy Cahill had them as a national seed. So big spread on Georgia. Now they are at Tennessee this weekend, and they lost last night. Now you saw Southern Miss lose to Ole Miss in the midweek, and Southern Miss RPI fell like a lead balloon. They dropped over 10 spots in the RPI from losing that game. Last night, Georgia lost to Tennessee, who's number 1 in the RPI. They didn't drop any. And I bring that to the not to compare LSU and Georgia because, well, that won't be done, but to tell you That's what LSU is really looking at next weekend at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's RPI is 5. Even though they're 500 in the conference, their RPI is 5, and that's all that matters when you're talking about RPI. So LSU is not going to drop a lot next week when they go to Nashville, no matter what happens. This week, you can drop if you lose to Ole Miss on your home field. So that's relevant for this weekend. Rest of the SEC schedule, Georgia and Tennessee back at it tonight. Let's go Rocky Top. Go Vols. Kentucky and South Carolina will play in Columbia. Nobody cares. Florida and Missouri will play in the other Columbia. Nobody cares. Now it gets to the big important stuff. Mississippi State is at Texas A&M tonight. That's a 6:30 start. It'll be streaming. We need Mississippi State in that one. You have any confidence in Mississippi State, the defending national champs, can go to College Station and get some work done.
Where's my man Pirate in the Bayou for chat when I need him? But no, man. Look, I've been saying that all week. I need Mississippi State to play big this weekend, man. Y'all got to dig deep, knock some off Texas A&M, knock them down a peg, a few for the Tigers, and look, you guys have coming off a championship. It's not gonna hurt you. Win this series, and we'll be good. Look, I'll shake your hand after.
Vanderbilt is knocking on the door. They are 12-12 in league play. They are going to Fayetteville this weekend. The Hogs are 16-8. Compared to LSU, LSU is 2 games ahead of Vanderbilt. They are 2 games behind Florida. We know the Tigers are headed to Nashville next week. What do you think LSU needs to happen in the Vanderbilt-Arkansas series? What's best case scenario there?
I kind of rather Vanderbilt kind of get knocked out. I mean, Arkansas is up there, so knock Vanderbilt out, let them not have much motivation going into next week. I just think Arkansas is not going to drop down, man. I think they've been playing too well. It's hard. I think I don't want to put them in that Tennessee category, but they're pretty close to where, they're probably going to be at the top, so you kind of want everyone else to kind of start losing.
They've got RPI problems, but their conference record's going to swing a big bat. They have 16 wins already with 6 games to play. They could get to 20 pretty easily, theoretically. And if you win 20 games in the SEC, I don't care what your RPI is, you are a national seed. That is ironclad. So we'll see Arkansas and Vanderbilt tonight, 6:30. That one's also streaming. Alabama and Auburn. The Tide, look, they fought against LSU last week, played a tight game on Friday, won convincingly on Saturday, and then got blown out on Sunday. They went to Oxford and got a sweep. They beat Tennessee a game. Like, they've been scrappy. Can they go to Auburn and find a way to win a couple of games?
I could see them winning 1. It's going to be tough for them to win 2. I would love if that happened. I would love to see Auburn get knocked down a few pegs and get LSU on top of them. But, man, I just think Auburn wins that series. I can't trust Alabama to win. I think they'll get a game, but I just don't see them winning 2 of them.
It's just funny how drastically the conversation shifts. When we come back and have this discussion on Monday, this whole thing will be a lot different. And that's the beauty of this time of year. I love it, and I spend way too much time on Warren Nolan checking out RPI, and it updates live. So every time a game ends, the shift happens, and you gotta look at it. LSU currently sitting in the RPI today at 16. They are inside of the top 16, which is good, but the teams in front of them in the SEC, Florida's at 13, Georgia's at 9, Auburn is at 8, Vanderbilt is at 5, and Tennessee is sitting there at number 1. So again, the most important thing for LSU is you're really going to be judged against Auburn and Texas A&M. Those 2 teams are at home. They're playing less than great teams. You're in the same boat. You're at home playing a less than great team. It's just a matter of who goes out there and makes it happen this weekend. And that's what makes this thing fun. It should be a lot of fun out there at the box. Not a ton of LSU baseball talk outside of Scott Rabelais, which will be at the top of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about the schedule release as well as the NBA playoffs. So your thoughts on how this weekend goes for LSU?
Yeah, I think they win the series. I think I hate predicting sweeps. I'm not going to do that, but I think they take 2 off of Ole Miss. I think really tonight is going to be so huge. I say that every week, but I think if LSU can start off the weekend right, don't know what I'm going to be getting from money on Saturday, but I feel really, really good about Sunday. I just think the bats are going to be alive as ever. They normally score a bunch of runs on Sunday, so I think starting off tonight, if you can get Hilliard out there, get him stretched out, win this game, save the bullpen, I could easily see LSU winning 2 games a series.
I think McHale's a pretty good matchup for Ole Miss because he has, for the most part, kept the ball in the yard. In conference play, how many home runs? He's given up 6 home runs. That's worse than I thought, honestly. Giving up 6 home runs in 43 innings of conference work. That's Ole Miss that's their strength is hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And McHale throws that breaking ball. He keeps it down. It's just harder to square up. And he does give up a lot of hits, but he's able to wiggle out of those jams. Ole Miss is not a team that gets a lot of base hits more often than not. Now, any day you can do anything. You don't expect Kentucky to go out there and beat Tennessee and hold the Vols down to 16 hits over 3 days. It's just a matter of the game divine statistics at some point. But if McHale can keep him in the yard, Money is a bad matchup. He's given up 10 home runs in SEC play this year. Obviously, he was a little bit better on Tuesday. The hope is that he found something. I think more than anything, he may have just found a little bit of confidence as opposed to any magic mechanical fix or anything. But I think I like the matchup tonight. If you listen to Chase Parham again on Matt's show yesterday, he said for Ole Miss to win this series, they're really going to have to win the first game because they've been much better in games that have been pitched by DeLucia than they have the rest of the game. So he thinks they've got to win tonight. It's a big one. McHale's got to keep Ole Miss in the yard, and if LSU can get one tonight, you feel really good about the rest of the weekend. All of a sudden, your back's against the wall a little bit. If you lose this one tonight, you don't have a guy you can really turn to as a starter to get it figured out the rest of the way. So that'll do it for hour number one. A lot of LSU Ole Miss talk. And hour number one also is brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans. Looking for a refinance, if you're looking for a loan company because you're making a new purchase, check out Angel Oak Home Loans and Ryan Schimpf. He's with us every single Friday. He was with us yesterday, and we appreciate him being with us. So AngelOakHomeLoans.com is your spot. When we come back on the top of the hour, Scott Rabelais will be with us. We'll talk some LSU baseball as he'll be on the beat this weekend. Also talk some NBA and some schedule release as well. Hope your Friday is going very well. We'll be back to close ours out with hour number 2 next. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2, Hunt and Hill on a Friday. Hope yours is going well. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here as we count down towards the weekend. The man who's been put to work this weekend is the Advocate Scott Rabelais. Scotty, excited to play beat writer for a weekend?
Oh, yes. It's nice to pinch hit. I was the baseball beat writer in 1999. I don't know how old you guys were in 1999.
11.
Not very.
7.
11. Yeah.
Well, Scott,
that's what I thought.
if you were listening to the show yesterday, 1999 was the last time that LSU had at least 5 guys hit 10 home runs in a single season. If either Pearson or McManus gets there, this team will get to 5. That year they had 6. You want to try to guess the 6 guys who hit double-digit home runs in your baseball beat writer year?
One was, let's see, Higgins?
No, he was the year before that, in 98.
Year before, 98, okay. I would say Brad Cressy.
Yes, he hit 10.
Yeah. That's the only one I can think of right now.
I'll lay it out for you. No, he was in 2000.
Terrio was 2000, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So I got Jeff Lamont hit 18.
Oh, Jeff Lamont.
Trey McClure.
Contact hitter.
Yeah, Trey McClure hit 18. Well, that was contact back in the day. You hit contact, it was a home run. Trey McClure had 18. Brad Haupt had 11. Eric Hendrickson had 11. Blair Barbier with 13. And Brad Cressy with 10. So if one of those 2 guys can hit 10 home runs, which I think McManus has 7 and Pearson has 6. If one of them can get hot late and hit 10, that'll be the first time since 99 LSU will have had 5 guys.
Gorilla Ball is indeed back. Have you seen how many home runs Tennessee has hit this year? They got like 113, I think.
Look, I follow Wes Rucker on Twitter, and he's the Tennessee beat writer for 247. I swear, during the weekend, he tweets such and such has left the building 13 times a weekend. It's like they're always hitting a home run. It's remarkable.
Yeah, they'd have to hit like 3.5 home runs a game between now and if they won the national championship to break LSU's record. But it's impressive though overall. I don't think they can get to 188, but it's pretty impressive.
What else has been impressive is the way LSU's kind of cobbled this thing together with a fractured pitching staff and some injuries, and they find themselves in a reasonable spot here with 2 weeks to go. What do you make of the job that Jay Johnson and his staff have done, and what these players have done to put themselves in this position?
Well, first of all, congratulations on what I assume was a double entendre with Jacob Berry having a fractured finger. So, fractured pitching staff. That all goes together very nicely. It's impressive. I mean, you have. He asked the question himself when we met with him Monday. I guess when was the last time LSU won 2 out of 3 on the road in an SEC series with 2 starters not making it out of the first inning, which is what you had on Saturday and Sunday.
Get Politz on the horn.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember. Someone emailed me 1990 or so. Okay, well maybe so, but it's a heck of a long time ago. I mean, they don't have what they have a very dependable bullpen, and that's good. But Hilliard's been the only consistent starter for a while now, and now you get Berry, but of course Cruz came on. Berry's injury, Cruz came on and obviously did what he did last weekend in Alabama. So they're just finding guys to do things in the clutch and to kind of pick up the slack, which is what we have seen good LSU teams do in the past. This is the time of year where you start to get someone to come on. I think of 2000. I think of Trey Hodges, coming on and starting to pitch great and all the way, through the World Series. And I'm not saying they're going to go to Omaha or how well they're going to do the rest of the way, but I think Jay Johnson is to everything taken into account, he'd like to win have a couple more wins. Of course, everybody does, but I think he's thinking they're probably doing about as good as, or have done about as good as they can with what they've got and some of the issues they've had to face.
With Blake Money being pulled over the last 2 weekends very, very quickly on the second day in the weekend, I think it's time for this team to kind of move on and give someone else that opportunity. Do you think that that's come to this day, or do you think they just keep rolling with Blake Money?
Well, since we saw him in relief Tuesday, I would kind of be surprised if he starts. But I think we also spoke to him, and he was like, kind of like seemed to be, enthusiastic about, hey, whatever role they need me to fill, I'll fill. I was talking to Leah Van, our beat writer, who's at a wedding this weekend, right? Nothing wrong with Leah. She's in a wedding, so that's why I'm covering the Tigers this weekend. But she thought they'd probably go with Grant Taylor on Saturday and Sam Dutton on Sunday. Dutton, of course, has been starting, so I think that seems to be the conventional wisdom. But I would expect to see Blake Money out there, at least in a relief role. I mean, he only pitched an inning in the third, I think, the other night. So, but starting, no, I think they're going to have moved on from that.
We're used to the Renatos, the Nolas, the Langs, even Cole Henry, Marceau, the guy that looks the part, that throws 95 miles an hour and gets through 7 innings on Friday nights. And Mikael Hilliard doesn't really fit any of those bills, but LSU wins every time he goes out there. What do you make, as a guy who's watched this program for 35 years, what do you make of the way that Mikael has emerged as the lead of this staff?
I was out there when they had a megaphone and not a PA system, just a megaphone. Now batting, there's pitching stuff, and then there's guys who just it's kind of like it kind of reminds me in a way of Jared Poche. It's just like I never thought Jared Poche had the greatest stuff, but they just seemed to play well when he was on the mound. It's just like the chemistry all worked for some reason. And not to put Mikael Hilliard down, but he shouldn't be a Friday night starter, really for you. But he's doing it, and he's 5-0, and they seem to. If they don't win, they play really well when he's out there pitching. So either he inspires confidence or he feeds off of the hitting, or whatever. I don't know, but it's just it's not the most impressive fireballing stuff you see. You've seen off of an Alex Lang or a Nola or somebody like that in the past, but it's just it just seems to be the right combination that they've hit on, and I think they're going to keep riding him as long as they can in that role.
How much do you think it's going to affect this team not having Jacob Berry in this batting lineup?
Well, I tried to get Jay to say, and he's got a bit of a football coach's mentality when it comes to talking about starters and injuries. And, is Collier Cranford going to start again? And, he started the last 2 games, and he wouldn't say, but that's a guy who's hitting 118 compared to a guy who's hitting 378. So, it's going to affect him, if he's a starter. Obviously, Dugas has played at third as well. So, but he wields a good glove. It's going to affect them, sure. And as I was listening to you guys talk to Nick Suss, Ole Miss is a team that can knock it out of the yard as well. So you're going to probably have to score some runs this weekend. It's going to be an interesting series. I don't know if Nick mentioned it, but he told me when I was talking to him yesterday. Under Bianco, they've come here 10 times. They've never been swept by LSU, but they've only won 1 series. So it's always been a 2 out of 3 kind of thing, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth give and take, and obviously that's going to be crucial. So somebody's going to step up and fill some of those batting average numbers, some of those RBI numbers that Jacob Berry wouldn't give you if he couldn't play. And just listen again. Jay was non-committal about Jacob talking to him yesterday, but he's seeing him in more than a pinch hitting role. I think would be a surprise this weekend, quite frankly. So they're going to need somebody to step up in his absence.
Chatting with Scott Rabelais of The Advocate here on Hunt and Hill. I was pretty vocal preseason. I said that Dylan Cruz could be the best hitter I've ever seen here, and he has done nothing in his sophomore season to pull me back off of that comment. You've seen the best ones around here. What do you make of Cruz?
Well, there's been some great ones, obviously, but I mean, he's got that. You've seen some guys who are the power hitters, and they might strike out a lot. You might see some guys who are more contact hitters, like Rafe Rhymes or something like that, who obviously hit for some really great averages. But he's got a great combination. I mean, he's leading them in RBIs, he's leading the team in home runs. And of course, second in batting average at 340. So really, a really impressive combination. Look, this is a guy who probably shouldn't be here. If they had a full major league draft, a normal situation, he probably would have gone pro right out of high school. But he came here instead, and he said it's been a great experience, and he's happy about it. And if you're an LSU fan, you got to be happy that he's going to be here one more year. You just hope that he stays healthy. But he's as far as a hitting outfielder, I think he's been right up there with a lot of great ones. It's hard to quantify. There've been so many great players. Like I was asking Devin Potnoy, he's 2 off the school record for appearances, which is 110. I think he's got 108 now. And you could say he's had some ups and downs in his career, but if you set a record of this program, any kind of career record, and he's a fifth-year guy, but it's impressive. So Dylan Cruz is certainly is impressive and as good a hitter as you would want to have or hope to have in the outfield for LSU.
Of course, you got the news that Adam Miller is returning to Matt McMahon's basketball program. Our Citizens Bank poll question today over on Twitter is, who's off to a more impressive start with their program at LSU, Brian Kelly or Matt McMahon? Where would you cast your vote there?
Nothing against Brian Kelly. I don't think he's done anything wrong. What McMahon has done is just utterly remarkable. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Again, I heard what you said earlier. I'm with you thinking, they could be a very non-competitive team this year. Something along the lines of what they were, in Johnny Jones last year, where they won 2 SEC games. I'm thinking something like that. I don't think it's going to be that at all. I like I said, I don't expect them to finish first in the SEC or whatever becomes of their fate as far as the NCAA sanctions go. And I think you still have to expect that there's going to be at least a 1-year postseason ban. But it's been impressive. If he can sell these guys now, based on not what's coming down, but just the huge uncertainty. If he can sell players now to be part of this program, to transfer in, the recruits he signed, it's awfully impressive. And you have to like that. Whatever comes of this season, it's a pass. It's a lagniappe. It's whatever. You have this season, and you hope to build for the future under Matt McMahon, and it's really impressive. And to get Miller to come back, and he could go. He could have gone to TCU or wherever he wanted to go, and you couldn't have blamed him at all. But to tuck him back into coming was, now I'm very intrigued to see what kind of team they're going to have this year. And women's basketball too. They've got probably 4 former 5-stars on the roster now. I think they will have more talent. Will they be a better team? I don't know, but they're going to have more talent than they had last year. Just pure talent, and you like Kim Mulkey's chances to do something with that.
She's a sure bet. That was a slam dunk when it happened. They were going to be a perennial power for years to come, and that's certainly going to be the case. Now, the question is, Scott, the NFL schedule release came out yesterday. I realize you spent a lot more time with LSU, but who's got to go knock on somebody's door and see what the expense report to London looks like for the Saints Vikings?
Oh, I went in 2017. I would love to go. That's my favorite. It's my favorite city in the world, and that'd be great to go. And of course, they're playing at Tottenham's new stadium, which is designed. I sat at the Masters. I sat next to a reporter from London who covers sports business, and he was talking about Tottenham Stadium. The NFL helped design it. So the NFL locker rooms are like massive. It's like 40 yards long or something like that. They really designed a lot of stuff. They played at Wembley last time to help accommodate them. But it's an interesting schedule. I'm very glad. The one big takeaway of it, I'm very glad that the Bengals game will be in New Orleans, because obviously there was talk that game was going to be in London, and that would have been a great shame. I mean, that's going to be quite a scene, and we'll see how many people are pulling for Joe and Jamar and those guys, and how many are pulling for the Saints on October 16th. But I hope to be at the Dome after the LSU Florida game for that. Of course, it's an LSU away weekend, right? It has to be that, but hopefully we'll fly back to New Orleans for that. But interesting schedule. Obviously, it's all formatted, but don't once again, the NFL didn't do the Saints any favors, right? No bye week till late in the season, nothing before or after the London game. That's just crappy. I mean, it really is.
The course with the NFL and the Saints. Scott, thanks so much. Enjoy the box this weekend. We'll do it again soon.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
He's Scott Ravelate with the Baton Rouge Advocate. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, bringing back the 5K giveaway. your chance to win $5,000 in cash. 104.5 ESPN 5K giveaway presented by Citizens Bank and Trust. Everyone who registers also eligible to win $250 in cash. So go over to 1045ESPN.com. Shout out Citizens Bank and Trust for sponsoring the 5K giveaway. We'll come back a little bit more talking NBA playoffs. It's Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Right Radio Hours return, previewing LSU Ole Miss and the NFL schedule release. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Hunt version of James Harden showed up last night.
Look, I told you yesterday during the show, I said, I'm getting on that Hunt Palmer train, man. I've seen enough. I tried to hold on. I tried to say, well, maybe. And then this his whole vibe after the game, post-game interview. I don't know, man. It's just he doesn't seem like that motivated anymore. I know he's made a lot of money.
Yep.
I know he doesn't have a championship throughout his career, so you would think that'd be the only thing driving him. But, yeah, he's just a shell of himself. And to see him really go out in that second half and only take 2 shots, it's just you don't want to see that.
I was watching last night and saw that he quit shooting. And I'm watching Get Up this morning feeding Myers, and Windhorst kind of stole my take on it. He's like, he just quit. Mm-hmm. I mean, he just quit. He just said, well, I'm out. Y'all go. And, like, that's too strong. Like, I realize he didn't, like, literally, but it just felt that way. And it's not the first time in an elimination game that he went and stood in the corner and just didn't do anything in the second half. I don't have a great explanation for that. No,
it's bad. I mean, to me, you look at it, you're paying that guy $47.5 million. Like, you're paying that guy that type of money. You're going to want some usage. And I know his usage rate was top in the NBA all those years throughout Houston. And obviously now he has an opportunity where he doesn't have to have that workload. So you would think the production probably not be the same, but still be pretty close to what it was, especially having another superstar on the court. But, man, that was just tough to watch yesterday. I know he got in an argument on the bench with one of his teammates, Tyrese Maxey. He was not happy with how James was performing, and that's just sad. It's just always a sad scene when your teammates have to call you out to play harder and play better. That's the last place you want to be, especially in an elimination game in the playoffs.
We don't know what goes on an NFL bench. Does that happen a lot?
Oh, yeah, it does. It does. You see guys, going back and forth with teammates sometimes, blown coverages, missed blocks and stuff. It happens. I mean, especially at that time when the adrenaline's pumping at all-time high, the dopamine's going through your mind, and you're on edge a little bit, and you want to win, and guys are super competitive. So they do happen, but I think for the most part, guys kind of understand we have the same goal. We both want to win, and you kind of put it to the past. But, yeah, it definitely happens a lot.
If Harden opts in, which it appears he will because he's not going to get near that on the open market, I saw a graphic today, the top 4 contracts in the NBA for next season. Steph is number 1. Then it is John Wall, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. That is called an albatross on your neck. You can't recover from that. No. If you're paying that much money for no production, you're toast.
No, it's bad. Look, and trust me, I know all well my Lakers, man. Look, I'm thinking of all the role players and the pieces we can give with a guy making $40+ million. But now you get one guy on there, and so for the Sixers, I mean, a lot of people are going back to that Ben Simmons trade now. Like, wait, now we were thinking, the Sixers, won that trade, but now it's kind of looking like it's up for debate, it's up for discussion, and I think Harden could have put all those rumors to rest. He could have, nipped that all in the bud, but he really had one 20+ point game this entire playoffs, and I think that's just inexcusable.
Dallas forces a Game 7. You've called this for a week now, that the Mavs would stretch this thing all the way. I kind of thought the Suns asserted themselves in the first 2 games and that they would win one more in Dallas. It would be 3-1, and it would be all semantics after that. Has not been the case. The Mavs have been pretty tough for the majority of this game, this series, and they win last night by 27 points, and it was not really all that close.
No, it wasn't close at all, and I don't know what it is about playing in American Airlines, but the Mavs, they just play lights out in the defense to me. Like, they're playing defense at a high clip. And to me, Chris Paul is going back to, not playing that way that he did when Booker was out of the lineup against the Pels, and that's being dominant and scoring and having those 15, 16-point fourth quarters. They haven't seen that from him. And so it puts so much pressure on their offense and all the other guys to score, puts so much pressure on Booker, who didn't have a good game. And going to Game 7, I think you're going to have Chris Paul and Devin Booker play out of their mind, because with Luka shooting inefficiently like he has and the Mavs still dominating, it's a scary sight for them. So if I'm the Suns, I'm gearing up and talking to Chris Paul, talking to D-Book, like, look, guys, we need you to start fast and play really, really well, because if you don't, we possibly may lose this series.
Of course, just so spaced for the Mavs. And I didn't watch that whole game yesterday because it was a blowout, but I watched a good bit of it, and I mean, they shot 39 threes. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just hoisting them from everywhere, and you've got to go out there and defend them, because Dinwiddie's 5 for 7 from 3, and Kleber makes 3 of his 5, and Bullock makes 5 of his 11, and you've got to deal with all those guys while Luka's taking his own 26 shots, and that's what makes them so good on that end. And then on the other end for the Suns, you mentioned it, but it's Paul and Booker. They just stunk last night. They had 13 turnovers between them. That's awful.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. I think for the Suns, I think you're going to really be kicking yourself if you find yourself in a tight game 7, because you could have ended this in Dallas. I mean, they started off well in the first quarter, but after the first quarter, it wasn't the same after. So it's going to be a really, really tight game 7. I have no idea which way it's going to go. I think it's probably a pick 'em if you ask me, just depending on what team's getting hot and what team's shooting. These teams are pretty well even matched. But to me, if I'm the Suns, I feel like I let one slip away.
Yeah, and we'll see game 7. I'm just pulling for Chris Paul, not necessarily because I care about Chris Paul. I think there are some people in New Orleans that hate him, some people that actually like him, some people that it's just ancient history and don't care anymore. I don't really have any feelings on Chris Paul. I think the storyline of him trying to cement his legacy is fascinating. It's the same thing that I thought to a much lesser degree because he's younger. Matt Stafford was going through last year when we were going through the playoffs, and he got his Super Bowl, and it just changes. For right or wrong, it just changes the way we look at guys. And Chris Paul's the only guy in this postseason that I think can really alter his legacy. I mean, you could talk about James Harden, but not really. He's a shell of himself. Chris Paul's still one of the best point guards in the NBA, and we've seen him be legendary at times in this playoff. I mean, what he did to the Pelicans was unbelievable. That's the most interesting storyline for me in the playoffs. So I've got the Suns in Game 7 there. Tonight we've got a couple of Game 6s. We've got the Bucks trying to clinch at home, and we've got the Warriors trying to clinch at home as well. Do you give either of the road teams a chance to push it to 7?
Ooh, man, I think the Mavs could possibly win a Game 7. Is there another series that's
yeah, Celtics Bucks and Grizzlies Warriors.
I thought the Celtics Bucks. The Celtics were down 1.
For sure. So I'm talking about the road teams tonight.
Oh, okay.
Celtics and Grizzlies are on the road tonight.
Okay. I think I actually like the Celtics in tonight. This is one of those weird, wacky series where no team has won 2 games in a row for whatever reason. So I think this is one of those too where it possibly can go 7 games. And so I like the road team in that one.
These are just remarkably evenly matched teams. You're talking about a pair of teams that went 51-31 in the regular season. Both teams have been pretty good on the road relative to the rest of the NBA. So I like Milwaukee to close it out tonight at home. I've kind of ridden home teams, which is a boring way to pick. But it's just kind of the way that I've thought about it. And there is just simply no way that the Warriors come out and do the same thing they did in Memphis. They've got to put their foot on the Grizzlies' throat in the Chase Center tonight. That was embarrassing what they did in the last game. I think they've got a big-time effort in them. That's just a hard place to go win, especially without your best player. Everything clicked for the Grizzlies in Memphis, and nothing did for Golden State. I think it flips. Although there's some thought that Klay Thompson is just not quite what he used to be in terms of moving around, and that this may be kind of the beginning of the end for the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Warriors, this is the best spot that they could be in, finding yourselves in a situation where you're at home and you can advance to the Western Conference Finals. But if you really go back and you look at Game 4, with the way the Warriors played, the Grizz are right there, and that's with Ja, being out of the lineup. And I thought, they would get ran off the floor, but that was a close game, and the Warriors somehow came back in the fourth quarter and came out on top. So if you're the Grizz, you're probably super confident that we can play well in that building, even without Ja, and it puts a lot of pressure on the Warriors because, they're the, former champs. They've been there, they've done that, they got all the pressure on them. So if you're a young, hungry Grizz team, you just come out there and play your brand of basketball and try to put that pressure back on the Warriors.
May is Military Appreciation Month, 104.5 ESPN, honoring those that have served or are currently serving. James White has served 12 years in the Navy, and Brian Matthews dedicated 20 years of his life to service of the Air Force. This week, Military Appreciation Month brought to you by All Outdoor Store. All Outdoor Store now with a new location in Port Allen's next to the Spillway Sportsman. When we come back, the Saints have signed all but one of their draft picks and cranked minicamp up today. A little bit on that, as well as a final look at LSU and Ole Miss. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Thanks for hanging out with Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill.
Reliable roofing and construction, reliableroofing.br.com. You can check them out on Instagram. Reliable Roofing LLC is their handle on Instagram. It shows their great work that they do here in the Baton Rouge area. Jeremy will tell you about them.
Yeah, so happy to tell you about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They have been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
30 years of roofing experience on that staff. Lionel and Jared Hayes, born and raised here in Baton Rouge. They are here for the long haul, and they love being of service to their community. Look, we know it's summer now. What comes at the end of summer? Hurricanes. Make sure your roof is in great shape. Let Reliable Roofing make sure that's the case. And when hurricanes inevitably do show up, let Reliable Roofing be at top of your mind if you need help on your roofing. Every single job that is done by Reliable Roofing and Construction, Lionel, the owner, is going to visit that site. You can guarantee it. What you also are going to get is a 5-year labor warranty on all of their jobs here in the Baton Rouge area. Check them out, reliableroofing.br.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The 2022 Smoke 'em If You Got 'em, presented by Mockler Beverage, is almost here. Smoke 'em If You Got 'em is an event that raises money to support military veterans and their families. Tickets are $100, and this year's event benefits the Special Forces Charitable Trust. Come enjoy live music, a grill station, a cigar station, a dessert station, a live and silent auction, and so much more. It's the 2022 Smoke 'em If You Got 'em fundraiser, presented by Mockler Beverage, Sunday, May 22nd at Bent 77. Learn more at smokeembr.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
On Mondays, Off the Bench. How did the Tigers fare in their battle against the Black Bears? Little recap of Saints rookie minicamp. We got spread lines with our guy Hold the Mayo. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 1045 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Counting down the minutes till we are on the weekend here in the capital city. Lovely Friday afternoon. Hope you're staying cool. Thanks for hanging out with us. Want to remind you that Our Lady Lake Ascension and 100.7 The Tigers Swamp Pop Music Fest and Jambalaya Cook-Off is Saturday, June the 25th from noon to 9 over at Lamar Dixon in Gonzales. Title sponsor, Our Lady Lake Ascension. Jambalaya Cook-Off sponsor, Mike Ward's Liberty Safe. And the presenting sponsor, Supreme Chevrolet. All the proceeds from the Jambalaya plate sale is going to go to Alzheimer's Services For the lineup of bands to purchase tickets, go to 1045ESPN.com. Swamp Pop, always a good time. It'll be June 25th this year over there at Lamar Dixon. The Saints have agreed to terms with 4 of their 5 draft picks. Chris Olave's deal reportedly for 4 years and $19.3 million fully guaranteed. Includes a 5th-year option for 2025. And the signing bonus, that'll be nice. $11.2 million for Mr. Olave. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah, it sounds like a great look. That's a great gig right there. That's not a bad gig. Come catch some balls for that type of cheese. Yeah, it's a great thing. I think for the Saints, they got their guy. I think he's going to be a great player. I would love if they had a proven quarterback. But, hey, I think James can find a way to get him the ball. But, yeah, that's a good deal for Chris.
Trevor Penning also been signed to his deal. The other first-round pick of the Saints, DeMarco Jackson has signed, and Jordan Jackson has signed as well. Alontae Taylor, the lone unsigned player for the Saints. I'm not familiar with this. I tried to look it up real quick during the break. They're not signed. Can they go to minicamp?
Yeah,
okay.
You can still participate if you're not signed, but I think a lot of guys don't do it because of the injury stuff that could happen. So a lot of if you're a first round pick, there's no way you're going out there getting injured and ruining it. But yeah, you can still go out there and perform.
I'm trying to find Trevor Penning's deal. Here's the agreement with the first round Penning. Let's see what this is. Trevor Penning, 4-year deal, $14.2 million with a 5th-year option, signing bonus of $7.47 million. So I think the Saints' 2 first-round picks ought to be pretty happy. Reporting to minicamp today, that's going to be a good day for them. And those 2 guys are going to have to be ready to roll when the Saints crank things up.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. I think for Penning, he's going to be a guy that they're going to need early on, especially with obviously the departure of Armstead. You're not really shored up at that position. So if you can get production out of a rookie at that position, that's going to work dividends for this Saints offense. And obviously we know the ability of Olave to kind of take the top off of defense and really, blow the coverage up, man, make some big time plays. And I think those 2 things is desperately what the Saints offense needs. So yeah, these 2 rookies, I expect them to play a lot of snaps next season.
Saints have some strange things in the schedule that released last night. We talked about it in a big picture sense yesterday because we got the leaks that had come out. But these 2 stats are a little bit wild. From week 4 to week 9, the Saints play 5 of 6 games at home. That means they leave New Orleans 1 time between September 26th and November the 12th. That's really good. Bad thing is, starting in week 6, the Saints play 7 of 8 games against teams that made the playoffs last year. They play both Super Bowl teams, Cardinals, the Raiders, the 49ers, Bucks, and Steelers during that stretch. So as you'd imagine, for a team that was pretty good most of last year, they'll play a pretty difficult schedule.
Oh, look, I think what we do it the other day, I have them 9-8 or something like that.
Yep, you had them 9-8 yesterday.
Yeah, that's tough, man. It's hard to make a playoff spot with 9-8, especially if the Bucks are in division. I don't see the Bucks losing 8 games or 7 games next season, so it's gonna be tough. So, but I think for the
They're
Saints,
1 injury away from that, though.
Yeah, they are. If 12 goes down, they're fried. They're toast. But yeah, I think for the Saints, we've seen them last year. They really get up for the big time teams and find a way to win those games. And you lose some of the games you have no business losing. So I think kind of Xing that out and getting that out of your system and trying to play more consistent next season. Maybe they can improve on the 9-8, but I think that's probably where they'll be.
NFL's coming out swinging on opening weekend. I'm pretty excited for the slate of games that they've got on opening weekend. The Rams are going to start the season by hosting the Bills in the Thursday night opener. You could easily make the case those are the 2 best teams in the league that'll be playing in the first game of the season on September the 8th. And then the Monday nighter that week is going to be Russell Wilson going back to Seattle in primetime to play the Seahawks with his Broncos. So primetime. They're locked and loaded for week 1, as you would expect from the NFL.
Oh, yeah, look, they're ready to go, man. They don't mess around with this stuff, and it's very strategic how they pick all these matchups and games. And a funny thing I laughed at, they picked 1 team, all of the NFL, to not have 1 primetime game. You know what that team is?
I don't know the answer, so let me give this some thought. I
think just really bad. Bad.
It's a small market, and they're terrible. I can't imagine the Jaguars are making any appearances. No?
They have 1. Think about it. Worse than them. Guys just retire left and right. They just don't want to be there.
Oh, no. Why am I drawing a blank here?
Think about
the Lions?
Yes.
Oh.
yes. No primetime games for the Lions this year. Done strategically by the NFL.
It is remarkable, and this is just totally off topic, but This league, if you suck, they give you the first pick. There's a salary cap so everyone can spend the same. If you finish last, you get the easiest schedule. This whole thing is built on allowing teams to cycle through and be good at some point, and the Lions always suck. They're never good. And if they get a good player, he quits when he's like 26 because he's so sick of living in Detroit and going 4-13 or 4-12, depending on the... It's just, how do they manage to stink every year?
I don't understand, because to me, when you look at it, you could make a case. They probably have one of the two more talented guys in their position in football history. When you look at Barry Sanders, when you look at Calvin Johnson, like, you can't go in a lab and make those type of guys, and you literally can't get anything. You can't get an NFC championship.
Scott Mitchell back there playing a quarterback for Barry Sanders. I mean, at least Megatron had Matt Stafford earlier on, but I mean,
like, it's bad, man. I just, they're spinning the wheels at this point. I just don't see it next year. Like, I know they got the first pick. I know they got Williams. Like, I just think they're going to be bad.
If you're a Browns
again.
fan, which you got to love the draft because you're picking early. That's your favorite part of the year. Has got to be the draft. And then I guess the other favorite part of the year would be the preseason, because like when you go to the games, it's not like 3 degrees outside, so you can feel your face when you go to the game. And then when you lose, it doesn't really matter, because I mean, in your other games, it gets freezing cold and you get beat by 30, and the Packers crush you every year. So it's like, I guess your favorite 2 times of the year as a Lions fan have got to be the draft and preseason. And then the season starts, and you go in there and you get your butt kicked in week 1. You go, oh, well, we're back. We suck again.
Oh, man, I couldn't imagine, man. Look, I feel like I'm spoiled. I know everyone pokes fun at my team choices, my Lakers, my Yankees, my Tigers, but I couldn't imagine just having someone just atrocious. Like, imagine you're a Vandy football fan. You got to get up and go to those games.
But at least baseball season rolls around, and then you're really good. Here's the thing that I've always said for the last 10 years or so. I have 4 teams that I pull for. I pull for the Cubs and LSU football, basketball, and baseball. Those are the 4 teams that take up all my time. And theoretically, all 4 of them can win the whole thing. LSU basketball has never done it, but they've been to 3 Final Fours. They've won the league twice in the last decade plus. They're functional. In a given day, they can do what Baylor did and win the whole thing. LSU football and baseball have done it. The Cubs did it in 2016. They can do it as well. It keeps me going. It's just difficult if I was like a Louisiana Tech fan, or they're just like, you can't win the whole thing. It's just not doable. Like, I went to Louisiana. I don't mean to take shots at Tech, but it is what it is. I went to Louisiana Tech Rice game that was the last weekend of the season. It was Thanksgiving weekend. I was up in Shreveport. My cousin is a big Tech fan. He's like, you want to go to the game? I said, sure, why not? So we went to the Tech Rice game. It was to win the Conference USA division, and the winner of that game played Marshall for the Conference USA championship the next week. I mean, we've been here when LSU can win the West. It's a free-for-all around here. I get to Ruston. We sit in the stands. My cousin, who at that point this is his my cousin's husband, this is their son. He's in like 6th grade. He and his friends are playing tag in the stands. There's so much room open in these bleachers that they are running around playing tag while they're playing Rice for the Conference USA championship. And at the end of the game, Tech wins, they literally scored like 70 points. They may have scored almost 80. Go look it up. It was sometime in the last 10 years when they played Rice and won. They almost scored 80 points. After the game's over, Tech leaves, and everyone just goes down on the field and throws the Frisbee. I think there were some dogs out there. It turns into like a park almost. It was so much closer to being a Loyola high school football game than it was Saturday night in Death Valley. I don't even know how we got here talking about teams that can't win it. It's just a different experience being a fan of a team that can't win the whole thing. And that's what the Lions are. Yeah. It feels like that's what Tech is. That's my story about Louisiana Tech and my experience at Joe Iett Stadium.
Look, we were just talking about that because I think you went to the LSU basketball and La Tech game, and I was like, look, there had to be more La Tech fans there, but look, you're not going to win anything. You're not going to be making any deep March Madness tournaments. It's hard to garnish people hard-earned time and energy and effort and money to go support something that, at the end, it's probably not going to end well for us.
Here's what's going to happen. LSU's going to host a regional. Tech's going to come here as the 3 seed and win the regional. And then they're going to replay this in all of Ruston annals as this moron LSU fan bashing Tech, and they've knocked us out of the NCAA tournament. I'm speaking it so it can't happen. That's what I'm trying to do here. So I don't even know how we got to this point, but we got one segment left. We'll come back and close out a week's worth of work here on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are heating up. You can make every game feel like Game 7 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's an official partner of the NBA throughout the playoffs. All customers can place a no-sweat same-game parlay each week. You'll get up to $20 in free bets if you don't win. If you're new to FanDuel, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Once again, that's promo code 1045ESPN. I love doing the same-game parlays. Take a side or the money line and then bet who's going to score the first basket. It's as easy and simple as a bet as you can place, and these parlays are how you can turn small bets into big-time paydays. So either way, get up to $20 back in free bets if your same-game parlay during the playoffs doesn't win. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official partner of the NBA. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable free bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $20 per week. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
For a Friday edition of Early Line as we preview the sports weekend, including LSU baseball's matchup with Ole Miss and the second round of the NBA playoffs. Join us from 2 to 3 p.m. Early Line on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I want to issue an apology to Louisiana Tech, all the Bulldog Nation. There was no reason to pull a drive-by right there on Louisiana Tech, but we just sometimes Fridays happen. You just start talking and brain starts percolating, and It happens. I took an aptitude test in one time and just kind of see I was in high school, I think, and like what you're good at, what you're not. Went to Dallas, took this aptitude test, and I was in the 99th percentile in like free-flowing ideas. I could just like, it was like this thing where you had to like start writing and then just don't stop writing until the time's up. And I don't even know how you can be good at that, but apparently that was exactly what that was right there. Was we started talking about the Lions, and then it all of a sudden spiraled into Louisiana Tech in 2014. I did look up the score of that game, and Tech scored 76 that day on that vaunted Rice Owl defense. So way to go, Dogs. Forever to thee, I think, is the motto up there at Louisiana Tech. I don't know. That concludes our Louisiana Tech talk for the week here on Hunt and Hill. Let's do some take it or leave it, sir. Fire away.
All righty here. 32 players from the 2021 top 247 list have already entered the transfer portal before entering their second season, which is the most since the transfer portal was introduced. Are you taking or leaving? The number of transfer will continue to increase going forward.
I'll take it. I mean, it's free. Why would you not enter the transfer portal?
I'll take it.
It's just, I mean, it's if you want to pull an Adam Miller and you want to put your name in the transfer portal and come on back, no harm, no foul. There's no like limit of times you can enter the transfer portal. It's like, people that are always looking for new jobs. The grass is always greener, I guess. But I think absolutely it's going to. I hope the floodgates open in College Station coming up in about 10 months. We shall see. Bill Plaschke of the LA Times says Phil Jackson has gained back the good graces of Jeannie Buss and will now advise her going forward, with his first piece of advice being trade LeBron James and keep Russell Westbrook. They should trade LeBron and keep Russ. Take it or leave it.
What are we doing? No. Leave
Phil,
that.
He's got a million rings. Just listen to what he has to say.
Look, I know Phil's not the biggest fan of LeBron, but look, dude, you're getting out of control right now. Dude just averaged 30, and it's year 19, and like obviously we know what he brings to a team. So I can't see them trading LeBron and keeping Westbrook and building around Westbrook, who's to me, he's on the back burners. He's been on 4 different teams in 4 seasons. I think he's well on his way to being on 5 in 5 seasons. So, nah, Phil, I got to disagree with you on this one. No, what are we doing?
Tell Jeannie to get Skip Bayless on the horn. He'll run the Lakers. God. That's what you need.
Look, Skip was the
Trip Bayless. I cannot lose in these shoes.
Look, Skip was the one agreeing with Phil Jackson, saying, yeah, build around Russ and trade LeBron James and see how far you get. But no, I don't see them trading LeBron. He's about to break the all-time scoring record. That's going to be some nice TV ratings, some nice people in the stands, some nice courtside seats.
Money.
Yeah, you can't trade LeBron, no. All right, next one here. The ACC is looking to scrap divisions in their conference by adding a new 3-5-5 scheduling model, which means you play 3 permanent opponents, then rotate the other opponents in the conference every 2 years. Are you taking or leaving? Conference to move to the new 3-5-5 scheduling model.
I'll take it. As I've said this week already, I would pay more money for a ticket to watch the SEC try to figure out the scheduling thing than I would for like a concert. Like I'm serious. I'm dying to see how this thing shakes out and how they do things. I've seen some pods, and I saw one that had Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, and Tennessee. Yeah, good luck signing off on that. That ain't gonna happen. I saw one that had LSU with Arkansas, Mississippi, and Ole Miss.
Ooh,
that ain't gonna happen. That's just not going to happen. So I'm for it. I think it's fine. I'm okay with the evolution of college football. Just give me the rules and tell me how we got to do this, and LSU will find a way. I think that's my stance on it. This is a place that's got a lot of advantages. It's got a massive amount of recent tradition. It's got a brand to sell, and I think that LSU will be just fine. Just give me the rules. And if the rules are play Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M, we need new rules. So that's what I think about that. So we'll see how that goes. Yankees general manager Brian Cashman and Astros owner Jim Crane got into a little bit of back and forth. Cashman said the only reason the Yankees haven't been back to a World Series since 2009 is because of the cheating circumstances that happened in the 2017 ALCS. Cashman should leave the 2017 season in the past. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving that. Look, we never let go. I don't care if Brian Cashman is on his deathbed, decrepit and gray. We're gonna bring up what happened in 2017 because look, you guys stole it, man. We got
banging on the trash can, baby.
Look, you look at the way they hit on the road based on the way they hit at home. It's just night and day. They're getting shut out on the road, and now they're just hitting. You got my boy Altuve just launching home runs. It's unbelievable to me that this guy. They got away with this. They got to keep the World Series. It's just, what are we doing, MLB?
And you still owe Garrett Cole $300 million, and he can't get anybody out because he doesn't have any more spider tack. So that's another issue the Yankees are going to have to get around. It's quite the conundrum. That's take it or leave it for this evening. What a fun weekend on campus it's going to be with LSU and Ole Miss. I cannot wait to get out to the box on Sunday and take in a little bit of baseball. Got daddy duty and moving duty the next couple of days, but Tigers and Rebs from the box. Tonight's game at 7:30. First pitch, you can catch that on ESPN2. If you're listening to it, our sister station's got it on the LSU Sports Radio Network. That is Eagle 98.1. It'll be Doug Thompson and the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, pregame at 7 o'clock for a 7:30 first pitch. First pitch on Saturday at 2, 1 o'clock first pitch on Sunday. Tonight it'll be Mikhail Hilliard going for the Tigers, and Ole Miss will counter with right-hander Dylan DeLucia. I'm curious to see what LSU does at third base in this game and this weekend. I think that Cranford and Merrifield are two options that everyone's discussing. One that not a lot of people are discussing is Gavin Dugas. You can put Pearson, maybe Stevenson in the outfield and go with Dugas at third. That's probably what I would do. You're not great on defense over there anyway. Might as well put a bat and somebody that can jack it over the fence. And I think there's a chance Dugas will be in the leadoff spot on Saturday with Hunter Elliott, the lefty, on the mound. So big spot for LSU. Jeremy's on record saying that LSU is going to win 2 of 3 this weekend. I don't have a great feeling about this weekend. I worry about Ole Miss's home run ball. I hope I'm wrong. I will go on record and say I think the Rebs get 2 of 3 this weekend. Barry, question mark. LSU pitching, question mark. Rebs playing a little bit better. We'll see, but I certainly hope I am very, very much wrong. Been a fast-moving show. You can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, or on YouTube. We've also got new channels on Spotify and Apple Music. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, Hunt and Hill, on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Go ahead and like it. Go ahead and give us a review, a rating. All that would mean the world to us. So on today's show, we had Nick Suss of the Jackson Clarion Ledger talking Ole Miss at 12:30. Scott Rabelais at 1 o'clock talking about the Tigers. That's going to do it for us. Matt Moscone will drive you home this afternoon from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Early line coming up with Mario and Musso. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you Monday from noon to 2. It's Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN, Baton Rouge.